Mesa's dropped on Thursday Thoughts here on SDH. John here, you there. Sorry about 906. I was trying to plot things and make sure that folks knew where they were going. All right, so here's the rundown for the morning. We've got a lot of newsy news to get into to catch you up on transfers and who might be going where and news in general. That'll be hour number one. Hour number two, we'll tour the planet with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV. We go fully loaded. I don't know, like I said, every time that Nino comes on, I don't know what he wants to talk about. And until I open up my phone or whatever device I'm going to look at, then that's what we're going to look at. So, I mean, I do want to talk about Dario Asugo and his transfer from Sporting and get into Sporting and all that kind of stuff in Portugal and how it affects everything else going on in Europe and especially in England. But the rest of it, I don't know. Could be Libertadores, could be Sudamericana, could be Peru, could be South America, could be, Portugal, could be England, could be whatever. So whatever he wants to talk about, whatever Nino wants to talk about at 10 o'clock, we'll talk about at 10 o'clock. Then we've been discussing over the last couple of days the furor that has been going on in Seattle where players wear T-shirts and owners get pissed. And so when our buddy Niko Moreno drops by at 10:30 for the last half hour of the show, we'll get into that. We'll have him walk us through the anger and the angst. And there have also been discussions over the last day or so about how those numbers might change when it comes to players and the purse and what their, what their piece of the action might be. Is it going to improve? We don't know. But we'll walk through the entire Seattle situation because of the sound that has come out of Seattle over the last couple of days, in addition to what we played earlier this week in the impromptu press conference that the players for the Sounders had after the match this past weekend where they were going up against Minnesota. So they had like a 15-minute thing. And we played, I want to say, 2.5 minutes of it when the week started with Stefan Fry and Christian Roldan. But I wanted to get into that conversation with Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart and go through what else has happened there this week. We'll go through the matchups that are going on. There are, I think, 5 that are going on in Major League Soccer this weekend because folks have to catch up or folks just want to play. And some folks are just like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll play. We don't want to stack up matches. And so you got Vancouver having to dial back into the system. You're going to have LAFC dial back into the system. We'll go over those matchups, and we'll kind of do that in hour number 2 as we get you ready for the weekend as it begins. So that's the rundown for today. We got, like I said, we got a lot of news to get into. We've got transfer stuff. The sites were announced for training for the clubs that are coming over to the U.S. for the Club World Cup. And so we'll go over those and get you ready for, okay, where do I need to stock my favorite team? Where are they going to be practicing and where can I stock them? And so we'll get into that as well. For those of you that missed it, once again, yesterday, it was great to catch up with our buddy Steve Livingston and Sporting Jacks. And later today, we are going to be catching up with some new friends in the NPSL, so keep an ear out for that. Stonebreaker Cup is going on, and so those interviews will be up later this afternoon about some new NPSL franchises, and so that'll be a part of it as well. So that is today in a nutshell. We also have some news involving ticket prices and the Club World Cup. Got some news about Atlanta United that we have to get into that broke yesterday as well, and so we'll get into all of that today. So that's the rundown for today, plus whatever else is on your collective minds this morning. Morning Pars, good to see you, and glad that you are in as always when you can. I always like to say everybody comes in always, but I know that it's like I kind of got work, and I don't want my boss to get pissed. If I play the volume up. So, Pars, as always, great to have you as a part of all of our discussions. So, all right, opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. We're going to find it. Here we go. Here's your QR code for those of you who are hanging out with us and checking things out in a video sense, however you are accessing us in that vein, whether it is on our YouTube channel or if it is on Twitch, or if it is on the 280 character app. You hit that QR code, you kick off your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You use that QR code, you go to Kickoff Coffee, and we encourage you to buy out the store. So when you buy out the store at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, obviously that's a good thing, because then you get to stack your shelves and you get to kind of hang out and make sure that everything in your coffee universe is taken care of. But what you can do is you can buy out the store to 15% discount. How do you do that, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. And they, in turn, are meaning the friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Our friends at Kickoff Coffee take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool, as our out-of-contract buddy Carlito says at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, I don't know if you know this, and we have here at SDH, we have a new project that is out, and it is something that Maddie has been working on, it seems, for a very, very long time, and she has been poring over it, and she's gotten a lot of assistance in piecing it together and shooting it and doing all the interviews and everything. Our friend Sonia Yvashenko with Atlanta United is a part of that crew. And the next time that Maddie comes on, I want her to talk about it a little more. But it is a documentary, full length. It's about 40 minutes about the Oglethorpe program. And admittedly, we have spent a lot of time in and around John Aiken and the Oglethorpe program on the men's side. And so what Maddie thought, and what we all thought, frankly, would be a really cool idea, is to do kind of a deep dive into the origins of this era of Oglethorpe soccer under John Aiken. And so the project is out now on our YouTube channel. And it's like I said, it's about 40 minutes. And so if you have, when you're at your lunch hour, or you're just, hanging out and you're trying to, have some time to yourself, and you've got about 40 minutes, I would recommend that you watch this project that Maddie and her friends have pieced together here at SDH. And she has spent an incredible amount of time on this. And the fact that it is now complete, and she has put it out into the universe. We could not be more proud of what she has been able to piece together with all of her friends and all of the pieces and all the pieces parts. And so last night she was at the Georgia Impact match. Big win for them as they try to work their way out of the basement into the standings, losing their first two. And so now they've shaken that off. They've gotten a win. Maddie was up at Cherokee High last night. But you go to our YouTube channel and you get to have the first, one of the first big documentaries that we've had here at SDH. And it's with Maddie and the time that she has spent hanging around the Oglethorpe program. What I have here is a sneak peek. I have a sneak listen. I mean, it's just a listen. I didn't want to pull the video because God knows me in video and trying to get something done. So here is in audio form, in all of its audio glory, the open to the documentary that Maddie and we have pieced together here at SDH about the Oglethorpe program. So out of the blocks this morning, opening kickoff, is the Madison Cruz edit, the mega edit for Madison Cruz and the Oglethorpe program. So here's the first little bit of it when it comes to this new project here at SDH. If you hit the button, right? Come on, hit the button. Oh, we're going to be like this today? Really? We're going to be like this? Wow. Okay. Now, that's cool. I mean, seriously? Let me see if anything plays this morning, first and foremost. Let me see if anything plays. Wow. It's going to be like this today. Okay. That's fantastic. This is good. This is going to be a fun ride today. If nothing plays when you hit buttons, this is going to go really well. Wow. Okay. All right. So it's going to be one of the. So let me see. Let me see just how far down we can go here. Yeah. Ain't nothing playing. Okay. There you go. All right. So that's a good start. Okay, so let me do something else here. Let me see if loading it in independently will work. Wow, it's going to be one of those days today. Okay. Oh wow, that's going to be fantastic. All right, let me try. Let me try it having loaded it separately. Nope. Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so great. So it's going to be one of those days where no audio plays at all whatsoever. That's just great. Okay, cool. Good to know. All right. So, so much for that. Anyway, tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the screen sharing thing, and I'm just going to show you where it is as opposed to playing it. Wow, hitting buttons and nothing's working. All right, that's a good start. Okay, so let me do this. I'm gonna show you where it is. Let's. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. All right, good to know. Okay, so you go onto the YouTubes, and then you go into our SDH site. You go into our SDH channel. So then here you go. You do this. All right, and so all right. So there it is. I have found it. So here's how I'm going to show you where it is instead of playing it for you. So screen share. Yes, on the YouTube. So here we go. All right. So you go onto our YouTube channel right here, Rise of the Petrels, John Aiken, Oglethorpe Men's Soccer, and thanks to the 100 of you that have done it so far, that have listened to it in the first day. So there you go. There is your sneak preview of seeing something that I can't play for whatever reason. Yeah, I did try turning it off and turning it back on. It's just Dell. Thank you for that. I know it's me and plug and unplug and all these kinds of things. But anyway, here it is: Rise of the Petrels, John Aiken and Oglethorpe Men's Soccer. So there you go. There it is. It's in our YouTubes. So there you go. Unbelievable. So it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those days. Okay, good deal. Wow, that's just tremendous. You hit all the buttons and none of the buttons work. I mean, literally, I am looking at all of the buttons that we have to press and play things. I can play no audio whatsoever. Wow. Okay. So so much for that. Dell is up at TST, by the way. Rainey and Carrie for TST Day 2. Keep an ear out for Jessica Charman. She is, I think she's doing some of the play-by-play that is associated with TST. So for those of you that get to do your things, and TST's on in the background, listen to Jess. So Dell, just be safe, stay dry, have fun. Morning, Abby. So yeah, this is about as extended as it's going to get. But anyway, go to our YouTube channel and go listen and watch the doc that Maddie has pieced together when it comes to anything and everything going on with the John Aiken era and Oglethorpe soccer. So it was something. It's about, like I said, it's about 40 minutes long, and it's well worth your time. It's a really cool deep dive into the program and into the system that they have put together there at Oglethorpe. And since I can't play any of the audio, man, and Dell says he gets to meet Jeff Cameron, Kyle Martino, Ted Uncle. I'm sorry about Ted Uncle, Jimmy Conrad, and others. Hopefully you gotten to take your pictures. But yeah, so I can't play any audio this morning. So my guess is probably what I'm going to do when the show is over is I'll duck out and duck back in and see if it's changed. But yeah, so I wanted to do this whole thing about previewing it and playing the first 2 minutes and all that kind of stuff. But no, we can't do that this morning, can we? Because of technology. Or maybe because of just John and technology. But anyway, Maddie's got a new doc out on the SDH network, and it has to do with anything and everything going on with the current era of Oglethorpe University soccer under John Aiken. So give it a watch and let Maddie know what you think. So there you go. All right, that's opening kickoff. Goodness gracious. That's opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code. For those of you who are hanging out with us this morning and watching in video form, you hit that QR code. You go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And what you can do is you can buy out the store. at a 15% discount by using the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. And the folks at Kickoff Coffee take 10%, reinvest into youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay, now, over the last couple of days, it has come out where the teams are going to be when it comes to the Club World Cup. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But obviously, yesterday, some of the larger news that came out, how we've been discussing everything with Atlanta United. Cayman Togashi now is apparently going to be on the shelf for the next couple of weeks. Expected to miss 4 to 6. Came out yesterday afternoon, undergoing a procedure in his right knee to repair a partial meniscus tear. Rehab process, obviously, and this is what you're always finding out. Rehab process will determine his return to play timeline. So, Cayman Togashi out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, and so that's what you're staring at with Cayman Togashi. And that means that you probably are going to have more responsibility on Jamal in the future until everybody's back and everybody's healthy. The way that we looked at it yesterday involving Atlanta United was it looked like Latte Lot being in Toronto is going to be a bit of a saving grace because of it being able to fly from Pearson into New York for the New York match on the 12th. So Latte Lot after his two friendlies with Ivory Coast can basically just hop on a little commuter change, and he can go from Pearson and go through customs and be ready with Atlanta United on their matchup in New York, all things being equal. So, obviously keeping an eye out for that when it comes to Atlanta United. But, yeah, that news yesterday came in Togashi. I know that a lot of folks were looking at Togashi and thinking, okay, viable option to sit there and go, okay, you've got him to help out offensively, but now you don't for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're still trying to figure out where Tristan William-Ba is in his rehabilitation. Obviously, looking at his rehab, they were thinking the same thing in the 4 to 6 weeks. And you have the 12 players that were called up for this particular window, and so trying to once again navigate who is going to be available and when. We'll give it a shot. Hang on just a second, Pars. Nothing like multivitamins first thing in the morning. Okay, so just to recap who is out, and if you missed it yesterday, Braden Dunham's goal against Argentina in the U18s. Very, very cool to see his game continue to grow. So, Luis Abram, Miguel Almiron, Luke Brennan, Dominic Chonqui, Noah Cobb, Jay Fortune, Latte Lot, Saba, Efra, Bart Sleesh, Caden Moore, and Braden Dunham also called up. So here's what you're staring at, and now you also are trying to navigate Tristan William-Ba's injury and his rehab, and now you won't have Togashi until, say, so it's July, so mid to late July at the earliest. So here's what you're staring at. Luis Abram has CONMEBOL qualifiers for Peru, June 6 and June 10. So if you look at that, once again, if he flies out on the morning of the 11th, maybe on the bench for NYC. Miguel goes back to Paraguay, and if you've seen our buddy Joe Freihofer, he and Diego Pinzon are following what's going on with Miggy in Paraguay right now. Very, very cool. June 5, June 10. So once again, it is flying out on the 11th and trying to be ready for anything in New York on the 12th. Maybe Miggy comes off the bench. Don't know. Luke Brennan, Noah Cobb named to the U20s. 2 friendlies in Cairo, Egypt. Brennan's made 6 appearances, 2 goals for the U20. Noah Cobb has made 9 with the U20s and helped them to the U20 championship in CONCACAF, 6 games at that tournament. So Luke Brennan, Noah Cobb are in Egypt. Not really a sentence that you figured would be a part of your vernacular. So if you're in Cairo, Egypt on the 10th, and you're taking pretty much the 11th to fly all the way back, I don't know if you're going to be available unless you're just like flying into New York and you just got your gear and it's like, yeah, we'll meet you in New York. So who knows? Jay Fortune, Trinidad and Tobago. Qualifiers, St. Kitts and Nevis, and at Costa Rica, June 10. So, you play June 10 in San Jose probably. Then you take the 11th, you fly back. Jay would probably be available in New York on the 12th because for those of us that have made that trip from Costa Rica, you're flying into Atlanta and then you're flying north. So, okay, that one's somewhat navigable, but once again, the when is going to be the issue for Jay. Latte Lot, we mentioned. Ivory Coast, a pair of friendlies. New Zealand, June 7. Canada, June 10. Both are in Toronto. So basically, Latte Lot on the 11th hops a flight from Toronto, meets the team in New York City. That's an easy one. Saba travels to Georgia for some friendlies. Faroe Islands and Cape Verde. Or is it Cape Verde? I forget. June 8. And so Saba, in theory, should have no issues returning back to this particular country to come back to work because he'd be leaving Monday morning the 9th, and then it would be getting settled. And so Saba should be available in some form or fashion also for the matches at Yankee Stadium. Efren Morales, Bolivia, 8th place in the CONMEBOL qualifiers at Venezuela, June 6, at home against Chile, June 10. Efra might be a bit of a tall order because, once again, if you're flying out on the 11th, then, you're kind of chasing if you're available on the 12th. Bart Sliech travels to Poland for a home friendly against Moldova, and then a 26 qualifying match at Finland on June 10, 15 appearances for his country since 2021. And so then that means matches over on the 10th, you fly out on the 11th, you're flying from Finland. Maybe you meet him in New York, I don't know. Then also Chankwi, Moore, and Braden Dunham, each named to the U18s, competing in the Friendship Cup until June 11. So if you were thinking that maybe something could happen, the next availability for DCQ for Caden Moore and Braden Dunham wouldn't be until they come back and then they get back into the swing of things with the twos. And then the twos, do they have, is that really the break? The twos, let me double check the twos schedule here really quickly because after the matchup with Huntsville City on the 11th, I think they have yet another large break, which would be the third large break of the year, which, you get into a rhythm and then you get into an absolute just break all over again. Yep, it's an 18-day break. So if you're looking for DCQ, Caden Moore, and Braden Dunham to help out with the twos, they should be okay because after the matchup in Athens on the 11th, then they don't play again until they go to the Erector Set on the 29th. 18 days off for the twos. Again, that's like the third time this season where there has been a substantial break in between matches. So June 11, they play Huntsville in Athens, 5 o'clock kick. And once again, that's where the matchup coming up tomorrow at 1 o'clock against NYCFC 2. That one's going to be, Ryan Lee's going to be on the call on MLSNextPro.com. We'll have the matchup for you on the network. Jason will be up for there in Athens for that one. Then they turn around 5 days later, play Huntsville City Football Club at Turner Soccer Complex, 5 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And then they get 18 days off. Man, you get into something akin to a rhythm, and then all of a sudden it's just, you get Price is Right loser horn all over again. Morning, Abby. Thanks for dropping by. And Abby's getting some pampering done, as she should. Oh, so happy birthday, Abby. Welcome to the June birthdays. I didn't know. I couldn't remember if you told us that you were a June birthday or not. But anyway, that's what you're staring at with Atlanta United 2, and the 12 players that are out. Pars looking at the end of the road. Who do you think will be leaving the summer? Don't know, but hang on just a second. We'll look at we'll just look at it from contract situations. We'll start there. So let's go to our friends at Transfermarkt. But also remember that you're staring at a window coming up for Atlanta United. No, I don't want notifications. So you're also staring at the summer window. You're staring at the extraordinary window that you're in right now for teams that are getting ready to play in the Club World Cup. And Adam Crafton's got some news there coming up in a bit. But what you also have is the summer window that you're looking at with Major League Soccer, and so you've got that too. Is something going to be happening in the summer window with anybody in Major League Soccer? You figure some moves will be going on, but you'll find out what's going on, and we'll see who's where. Now, just to look at contracts and when folks would be out of contract, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When would that be? Well, if I don't know. If websites would actually behave, then I could give you answers, because there are a handful of players that have decisions that need to be made at this season, after this season is over. And so then you can find out, okay, contract. Okay, so contracts that are expiring this year, end of calendar year contracts, and there's a lot. You got a lot of them that are at the end of this season. Brad Gazan, Mateus Click, Derek Williams, Jamal, Luis Abram, Brooks Lennon, Togashi, Josh Cohen, Ronald Hernandez, Edwin Mosqueda, Will Riley, Efren Morales, Matthew Edwards, Jay Fortune, Aiden Torres, Jaden Hibbert. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 players that you have to have a decision on just at the end of this year. So it could be any of those 16 in addition to everybody else that is currently under contract. So, I mean, Brad, Click, Derek. Brad is 40. Mateus Click is 34. And he will turn 35 in 8 days. Derek Williams is 32. Jamal is 32. Luis Abram is 29. Brooks Lennon, 27. Togashi is 31. Josh Cohen's 32. Ronald is 27. Edwin Mosqueda is 23. Will Riley's 22. Efren Morales, 21. Matt Edwards is 22. Jay Fortune's 22. Aiden Torres is 17. Jaden Hibbert is 20. And I think that you can look at those names and sit there and go, okay, yes, and you can come up with reasons and rationales for either maintaining or dismissing one way or the other. But 16 players are out of contract this year. Then there are some options that are available to be triggered with some of them, but just at the end of this season, you've got 16 to start with. Then Saba's at the end of next year. Tristan's at the end of next year. Pedro Amador's at the end of next year. Noah Cobb is at the end of next year. Ashton Gordon is at the end of next year. So that's another 5. That's 21 players either this year, the end of this calendar year, or the end of next calendar year. Then you have some 27s and Stian Gregerson, Miranchuk, Miggy, Luke Brennan, that's another 4, and then Bart Slish, Latte Lot, and DCQ are 28s. But yeah, 16 players right now you would have to have some kind of a decision on when you're looking at Atlanta United at the end of this calendar year. So, I mean, that's just the beginning of the process when it comes to all of that. So, I mean, that PAR's right there. It's the beginning of the discussion. Those 16, and technically it is this window, the extraordinary window, the summer window for Major League Soccer, and then the end of the calendar year. So those 16, that's your basis of all of the names that you would be looking at when it comes to Atlanta United, just in a short-term discussion when it comes to all of that. Ropes. Season ticket holders that can't make it out to Athens. There was something I saw. Hang on just a second. I did see something that was allotted. So hang on just a second, because it was when they announced the matches had been shifted. So hang on. Both matches free to the public and no ticket required at the gates. Security measures in place that align with the venue security policies. Fans who originally purchased tickets for both matches refunded within 48 to 72 hours. So I don't know. There's nothing in there in that paragraph that says anything for season ticket holders. But it did say fans who originally purchased tickets for both matches refunded within 48 to 72 hours. So keep an eye out on your bank account. That is what the team has in the release when it was shifted for the 2 times now at Turner Soccer Complex, Friday at 1, and then on the June 11th match, that one's at 5 o'clock, and that's to make sure that folks can get in and get out and get back to so that Huntsville can get back to Huntsville, and so that NYC can get back to NYC. So fans who originally purchased tickets for both matches refunded within 48 to 72 hours. Happy birthday, Abby. So there you go. Looking at Atlanta United, they've been on the road for a while. And when you catch up with Steve Cook, it's one of those where it's like, he could not be prouder of this group, just dealing with the adversity that's there. And it started with it's 5 in a row that they have away from home, and it will be 8 through the end of June. So it was a 90-minute draw, losing in PKs in Cincinnati. There was a 90-minute draw, winning in PKs in Huntsville. 90-minute draw, losing in PKs at Charlotte. Then winning in Orlando, or winning in Osceola Heritage Park, and then losing 1-0 on a bit of an own goal at Montclair last week. And so that's where you are right now with Atlanta United. It's 1 win, 3 draws, and a loss in the last 5. And now you've got your next 3 away from Kennesaw. 2 of them are in Athens, and one of them is at the end of June down at the Erector Set as you go and you take on Inter Miami 2. Getting into the news and notes for everything going on around transfers and such and all the things. I wanted to break down where everybody's going to be with the Club World Cup and who's going to be where and all those kinds of things. It's a really interesting cross section of locations, and I know that you might have had the chance to hear Jason's interview with the athletic director at Mercer to find out what it's going to be like for them to have to have all of this stuff going on in Middle Georgia, and it's a chance for them to shine going forward. And I don't know who's trying to call me on the phone, knowing that they would full well know that I would be like, oh, I don't know, on the air. Okay, so here's where folks are going to be. So feel free to let your friends know if you want to go and try and hang out on the outside of places and find out where base camps are going to be. Alakli is going to be in 2 places, Nova Southeastern and the Pingree School in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Al Ain is going to be at Episcopal High in Alexandria, Virginia. Al Hilal is going to be spending time at Nashville's training facility, Nashville SC, and at DC United's training facility in the Burbs in Leesburg. Atletico Madrid's going to be at the Mausoleum, the LA Memorial Coliseum. Auckland City is going to be at the Baylor School of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hopefully we can try and find out when their practice times are going to be and when their media availabilities are going to be. We'll try and catch up with them because that's a cool story. Borussia Dortmund's going to be at the Messi and Friends Training Center. Botafogo is going to be at Westmont College in Santa Barbara, California. Boca Juniors at Barry University in Miami Shores. River Plate's going to be at the Providence and Swedish Bouncy House. Monterrey is going to be at Loyola Marymount. Pachuca is going to be at NC Charlotte. Chelsea is going to be at either Nova Southeastern or Philadelphia Union's training facility in Chester, PA. Flamengo is going to be at Stockton University. Stockton University, a place I've never heard of. I've never heard of Stockton University. But that's where Flamengo is going to be, and they're also going to be at the they are also going to be at the Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando. Esperance de Tunis is going to be at Oakland University in Oakland, Michigan. I mean, like I said, I don't know what I don't know what the guidelines were to figure out, okay, who's going to be where and when. But yeah, there's some really interesting ones in here. That's one of them. Esperance de Tunis is going to be at Oakland University in Oakland, Michigan. Bayern Munich's going to be at the Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando. Inter's going to be at UCLA and at the Seattle Seahawks Training Center in Renton, Washington. I don't know if they want to be answering questions right now. Porto's going to be at Rutgers. Salzburg is going to be at the Melanie Lane Training Ground in Whippany, New Jersey. Fluminense is going to be at Columbia, South Carolina. Could you imagine the conversations that Tony Annan has with Fluminense? Just saying. Inter Miami is going to be at home. They're going to be at home. And I know that shocks you. Juve is going to be at the Greenbrier. You want to talk about being tucked away where no one can talk to you? Juve is going to be at the Greenbrier before they go to Champions Gate in Orlando. LAFC is going to be at Mercer. That one, like I said, we've talked about that where LAFC is going to be at Mercer. Once again, Jason had a really cool conversation with the AD at Mercer, and it's going to be that's going to be cool. And I'm hoping that LAFC gets introduced to a lot of good barbecue. Mamelodi Sundowns at IMG Academy. Man City is going to be at Lynn University in Boca. PSG is going to be at Cal Irvine. Zot. Real Madrid's going to be at Gardens North County District Park in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Palmeiras is going to be at UNC Greensboro. Sounders are going to be at home. Benfica is going to be at the Waters Sportsplex in Tampa. Ulsan's going to be at Charlotte FC's headquarters. Urawa Red Diamonds at the University of Portland. And Wydad is going to be at the Landon School in Bethesda, Maryland. So, like I said, there were a lot of folks that you're sitting there going, okay, well, that's random, and there is a lot of random that's attached to it. But nevertheless, like I said, it's fun to see where all of this is leading to, and where it's going to be in like 10 days' time to see what's going to be happening with all of this stuff. Adam Crafton, by the way, at The Athletic, mentioned, speaking of the Club World Cup, that it is going to be yet again, there is another, and this is from Phil Hay et al., that seats have been slashed again. And so you have now Adam Crafton reporting from our friends at The Athletic. FIFA has slashed ticket prices again for the opening night. Concerns mounting that the launch game starring Inter Miami and Lionel Messi will be overshadowed by masses of empty seats at Hard Rock. Quoting Crafton, according to sources briefed on FIFA's attempts to sell tickets for the tournament, all of whom wish to remain anonymous when disclosing commercially sensitive information, tens of thousands of seats remain unsold for Inter Miami and Al Ahly. Hard Rock has a capacity of 65,326. Sources added, FIFA has been concerned in recent weeks that the opening match of the tournament has not been selling as well as they'd expected. It was even suggested tickets sold for the opening match are at less than 20,000, but FIFA insists this is false, saying the figure is much higher, but it did not specify numbers. FIFA said in a statement, quote, "We are introducing many new successful clubs from all over the world to the world through this tournament being staged in the 11 cities across the U.S. Overall, we anticipate great attendances throughout the competition for this first ever edition, a tournament that we believe will grow edition on edition," end quote. Dynamic pricing model. Remember, that's what you're also looking at here with dynamic pricing, fluctuating based on demand, and then obviously getting into all of that stuff. As of Tuesday night, Inter Miami's game against Al Ahly had dropped to only $55, according to prices on Ticketmaster. We'll go and check the Atlanta prices here in just a sec. And half of what they were available for in May, tickets were $230. Tickets were $230 for the cheapest seat in January and then $349 after the draw in December. FIFA is now hoping that the reduced prices draw people in during a publicity blitz in the final week before the tournament. Additionally, some sources have questioned whether it may have been wiser to take Messi and friends out of their home market, where their star names would be more of a novelty, particularly if attempting to sell matches at higher prices than Messi and friends. Home fans usually paid a different venue to see them at Chase, at the Erector set. Others countered that FIFA were reasonable to hope that Messi and friends fans would rally behind their team in a home market. FIFA's holding prices at a higher price point for later in the group stage in the hope interest picks up in the tournament as it progresses. For example, Messi and Friends' third and final match of the group phase against Palmeiras has tickets starting at $113. However, the second game of the group stage against Porto here in town has tickets available for $58 in a game that kicks off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, June 19. Among the highest-selling group games in the tournament so far involve Real Madrid. No tickets available for less than $132. And that's for the matchup against Pachuca in Charlotte. Prices start at $310 against Al Hilal in Miami and $253 against RB Salzburg in Philadelphia. Prices appear to have increased since Madrid confirmed the involvement of Xabi Alonso and Trent Alexander-Arnold in the tournament. The match involving Boca Juniors and Bayern Munich also trending well, boosted by the substantial Argentine population in Miami. Cheapest seat currently showing at $136. FIFA, quote, "It is accurate that matches involving Boca and Real have high demand from fans, but they are not the only clubs to feature in such a list. And, in fact, the highest-selling match features other clubs for this first-ever edition. The strong international appeal has seen supporters from more than 130 countries book their ticket to the competition. The top 10 countries per ticket sales: U.S., club fans from Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Canada, Germany, Saudi Arabia, France, Japan, and Spain. Once again, the winner of this one could walk away with $125 million. The lowest priced ticket appears to be the match between River Plate and Urawa Red Diamonds at Lumen Field in Seattle, 3 o'clock on June 17, $24 to get in. Remember the thing where if you sat in 20 separate matches, you could get like a chance to go to the World Cup final. I think that was what it was. So keep an eye on that too and see if anybody tries to piece all of that together. Other games, including PSG against Botafogo, available for $33 at the Rose Bowl. Concerns for huge swaths of empty seats for games like Benfica and Auckland in Central Florida, Palmeiras and Al Ahly in the Meadowlands, Ulsan and Mamelodi Sundowns in Orlando, and the Mamelodi and Fluminense in Miami, all of which are now selling for prices between $26 and $40. I mean, if you could piece it together, you might be able to piece it together. If you did Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, you might be able to piece it together or come close. Nashville, you might be able to piece it together and come close and figure out how you could get close to that 20. Johnny Infantino back in April, not worried. Quote, "When I see some of the stadiums in the U.S. filling itself when some teams are coming to play some friendly games, exhibition games, I'm not worried at all to fill a stadium when teams are coming to play a World Cup to play for, something real." And so they have yet to, Adam Crafton has yet to get a comment from Messi and Friends in the group. But FIFA slashing their ticket prices for the Club World Cup. So let's go to our friends at the Ticketmasters and find out when you go to FIFA Club World Cup tickets /artist and see what we got here. So let's see, going through what we're staring at. All right, so Al Ahly and Inter Miami, M01, match 01, loading. Yes, I agree, whatever. All right, so get-ins, you're looking at like $61.35 before fees in the get-ins. Okay, $55.75. All right, so it looks like $55.75 in the upper corners. And so the upper tank and the 200s in the upper corners, you're looking at $55.75. And I guess technically they're calling it the 302s? I guess it's the 302s. So it's the 300 level. Sorry. The 300 level at Hard Rock, $55.75 to go up into the corner. Now, TQL, Bayern Munich and Auckland City, June 15th. Yes, I agree. Once again, we're all in. Okay, so get-in price for Bayern Munich and Auckland City to be up in the corners in the 200s, $90.30. Row 4 to get in the door, $90.30. For Bayern Munich and Auckland City. Rose Bowl, PSG and Atletico Madrid later on in the day. get-in price in the Rose Bowl, yes, I agree, $97 in the get-in. And that's for the end zone seats at the Rose Bowl. So right now, $97 in the get-in for PSG and Atletico Madrid. Meadowlands, Palmeiras, and Porto. And I'm going to have to click the thing again where I agree. Get-in price $47.95 for the Meadowlands for Palmeiras and Porto. Then Lumen Field, once again, Botafogo and Seattle Sounders. Loading, I agree. Get-in price of $45.23, and that's to get in to Section 117? Oh, I think it's the end zone seats. Okay, so it might be the supporters section. But, yeah, 117 KK get in for Lumen Field at $45.23. And then, just to give you an example here at SDH HQ, Chelsea and LAFC, Monday, June 16, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, get-in price $73.35. Fees before taxes. So right now, get in $73.35 to be in the upper deck. End zones and the end zones right now, like the supporter section, stuff like that, $113.75 to get into the supporter section, and then $134.88 to get into the upper tank in and of itself. But get-in price in Section 312 for Mercedes-Benz for Chelsea and LAFC right now, $73.35. So that's just to kind of give you an idea as to where things stand for the first couple of matches when it comes to anything and everything that is involving Club World Cup. All right, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it before our buddy Nino Torres joins us coming up here top of the hour, and then Niko Moreno. And we'll talk more about Seattle and the Club World Cup and the protests and everything with Niko in about 35 minutes. So gossip on the day, who's going where, who might be going where. Villa have become the latest club to show an interest in Jadon Sancho for Manchester United. United have also made Burnley and England keeper James Trafford their top target. Liverpool, not looking to sell Luis Diaz, have received no offers despite reported interest from Barca and Al Nassr. But should Diaz leave, Newcastle's Anthony Gordon being seriously considered by Liverpool as a replacement. Liverpool could also compete with Arsenal to sign Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig, with the striker being the subject of a £67 million bid. Harvey Elliott most likely to join a Serie A club if he leaves Liverpool this summer. Everton would have to match Tierno Barry's release clause of €40 million to sign him from Villarreal. Chelsea are unwilling to pay the £25 million that AC Milan want for Mikey Maignan. Brentford will look to appoint Kieran McKenna if Thomas Frank leaves to replace Ange Postecoglou at Spurs. Thomas, don't do it. West Ham have contacted Club Brugge about signing 24-year-old Nigerian midfielder Rafael Onyedika, but face competition from AC Milan. And Manchester City and Barcelona have expressed an interest in Arsenal's 15-year-old English midfield prospect, Max Dowman. Okay. Get him locked in now, pay him for 3 years, and then it'll be time at that point to see what is going on with the 18-year-old as opposed to how things continue to grow between the ages of 15 and 18 when you've got him under contract. From our buddy Ben Jacobs, Victor Gyökeres is open to Manchester United even without Champions League football. No approach to Sporting yet. Several other European and Saudi suitors, but Ruben Amorim still in touch with the player. Sporting will sell for around 70 million euro. Al Hilal expecting an answer from Victor Osimhen by Friday at the latest. Optimism that the Nigerian will agree to a 30 million euro per season offer and in time for the Club World Cup. Hilal tried for Osimhen in 23 when the Nigerian also agreed to Al Ahly last summer, only for Napoli to ask for more money. Al Hilal have retained significant centrally allocated budgets originally earmarked for Mo Salah's wage and are in a position to trigger Osimhen's 75 million euro clause. Now waiting for his answer, which is expected imminently. Manchester City and Wolves closing in on an agreement for Ryan Aït-Nouri, expected to join before the Club World Cup. Final negotiations taking place with a full agreement between clubs, which is very, very close. England confirmed their squad for the 25 UEFA Women's Euro. Lauren James included despite being out since April with a hamstring injury. Georgia Stanway makes the squad. Mary Earps and Fran Kirby both confirmed their international retirements. Millie Bright removed herself from selection. Sophie Bagley, Laura Blind-Kildy Brown, Missy Bo Kearns, Lucy Parker, all on standby. Stay with the squad at St. George's Park from the meetup on June 16 until they travel to Switzerland on June the 30th. Luis Diaz in Barcelona, no bid made. Liverpool decisive in stating that Diaz is not for sale. Club wanted to send a clear message, especially after Barcelona flirted with a Diaz bid for much of last summer. One never came. Understand Barcelona is now out of the running, according to Ben Jacobs. They don't feel they can change Liverpool's mind or place a high enough bid. Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards both feel Diaz provides value to the team. Liverpool, no appetite to sell Diaz, and this will only change if a huge offer is placed, allowing them to replace Diaz with quality. Al Nassr are still intent on trying. Tactic is to get the player buy-in. If that comes, then approach Liverpool would be made. Nassr prepared to offer around 85 million euro. Robbie Keane is a contender to replace Michael Carrick as Middlesbrough manager. Keane impressed Borough owner Steve Gibson during a spell as assistant manager, recently guided Ferencvaros to the Hungarian title. The list also includes Danny Roll, Rob Edwards, and Yondal Thomason. Steve Cooper has ruled himself out. Let's see. Who else am I missing here? Cole Palmer has moved to the number 10 at Chelsea, taking Mihailo Mudrik's shirt, while the Ukrainian is still under a provisional ban for a failed drugs test. Gabri Vega is going to arrive in Porto for his medical ahead of a 17 million euro loan from Al Ahly. A 35% sell-on retained by Al Ahly as a part of the deal. 5-year contract on around €1.5 million per season. So Liam Delap has taken the number 9 at Chelsea. Cole Palmer is now at the number 10. Antonio Cordero is going to join Newcastle July 1 when his contract at Malaga expires. The plan is for the 18-year-old to be sent out on loan this summer. And the opening offer for Manchester United, according to David Ornstein, for Brian Mbeumo, 45 plus 10 to Brentford, falls below the Brentford evaluation. Brentford won at least 50 and are pointing to the 62.5 paid for Mateus Cunha as comparable value. And so Manchester United obviously is still somewhat optimistic in hoping that something goes down. The contract, by the way, for Liam Delap is until 2031. They activated the £30 million release clause, 20 million of which Ipswich gets up front, and they also get the sell-on percentage there as well. Manchester City reached the agreement to sign Tiani Reinders, €55 million fixed plus bonuses, signing a 5-year deal. He still needs to undergo a medical before completing the move from AC Milan. And then we talked about Jadon Sancho as well and how he is how his future is looking. So that's where we are when it comes to at least the high points of transfers and such. When it comes to anything and everything that is international football. So there we go. So that's your early rounds of all of your news and notes. What else have I missed? What else do I have down here? Ticket prices, yes. And so let me try something again really quickly. Not that this has anything to do with anything, but hang on. Let me see if this will work. Nope. Wow. Okay. So it ain't working. So wanted to play highlights from Decatur FC and Chattanooga FC. Hitting buttons, and it's not happening. And so I may just have to hit refresh when all this is done just to see if there's anything that's going to happen. But, yeah, hitting buttons, and hitting buttons. Ain't nothing playing. Ain't no audio playing, nothing nowhere. So all the drops that I've got, I'm just staring at them. I'm just staring right at them. Ain't nothing happening. So, yay. So, like I said, probably just ducking out and ducking back in and trying to figure out what the heck's going on with the system. Man's holding me down this morning with all the things. All right. So I got that to look forward to. All right. So I'm trying to see if there's anything that's on the board that I might have missed one way or the other, but apparently not. Once again, all the things that you think, you come up with a rundown. You come up with a rundown, you come up with ideas, and you come up with this great idea of what you want to do for a show, and then you're hitting buttons and nothing's happening. That is about me in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? That's about me in a nutshell. Every single time you sit there and you think you got it all laid out, nope. Not happening. Not happening at all. And that's a little more than slightly frustrating. Oh, by the way, Portugal beat Germany yesterday, 2-1, and some dude named Cristiano Ronaldo scored with about 20 to go, and so they had to come back. They had to come back in they get to earn the place in the Nations League final on Sunday, and so you end up now with Portugal advancing out of the Nations League semi. Who would have thought that Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 214 would have helped Portugal get into the final? Not me, but apparently it happened. And so, yes, Cristiano Ronaldo helps out to win 2-1, and you've got Portugal making it into the Nations League final. World Cup 2034, unions from 36 countries are protesting over the treatment of workers in Saudi Arabia. That story's over at The Guardian. That might be part of the required reading. And our friends at Yosemar Football, by the way. You know how we continue to discuss everything going on with our friends at 777 Partners? 777 Partners, according to Paul Brown and Philippe Auclair, are being forced to auction off all of the shares in all of their football clubs with a sale to be completed this week. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern time at the U.S. offices of Cadwalader, Wickersham, and Taft, LLP in New York, there's going to be an auction. Up for sale are all the shares still held by 777 in Genoa, Sevilla, Standard Liège, Red Star, Vasco da Gama, and Hertha Berlin. Qualified bidders are invited to submit offers by Zoom if they cannot attend in person. Going all the way back to August of 2023, the auction, public sale available to qualified bidders in person and by video conference. Winning bid chosen in the secured party's sole discretion, as is, where is, with all faults. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And if you want to email someone for interest in becoming a qualified bidder, there's a dude that's got an AOL account. Initially feared by some that it would have implications on Everton, but apparently not. And it might be just a drop in the bucket for how much really the clubs are worth. But standard auction tomorrow from 777 Partners. You, too, if you're a qualified bidder, could pick up, as is, Genoa, Sevilla, Standard Liège, Red Star, Vasco da Gama, and Hertha Berlin. That's what we're staring at these days with folks like 777 Partners. That's from our friends at Yosemar Football. If you really like investigative journalism at its finest, be a subscriber over at Yosemar Football. Full disclosure, as are we. All right, it is that time. It is after 10 o'clock, and it looks like you just came in from piloting a plane. Like one of those old biplanes in like World War I, like in the old fighter movies and everything. One of those. It's time to go fully loaded with our buddy Nino Torres. How are you, brother?
I'm all right, guys. I'm all right. Yellow. So good out here, fans, here from Lima, Peru. As you can see me, for those who can see me, yeah, it's 50 degrees here, and this is how we spend our winter here in South America, brother. We got a different thermostat here because 50 degrees feels like, I don't know, feels like -10.
I mean, I'm like, come on now. I saw that and I'm like, wait a second, what in the wide world of sports is going on with you to where you're wearing the skull cap? It's like you're trying to go out there and lose another 10 pounds to get into the middleweight division or something. I mean, I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Brother, it's so cold. I don't know how people like the winter, man. I'm a summer guy, man. I'm a summer guy. I'm summer vibes, and people love winter here. Oh, it's so dark and so cold. It's so humid. No way, not for me. Not for me.
We were getting into a couple of things, and like I said, I have yet to look at your list, so this is independent of your list. And if it is, then we're blending into it. According to Talk Sport, Manchester United has handed a huge boost in the Victor Gyökeres transfer race. So Amorim looks like he might be looking at Victor Gyökeres. We do need to talk about Dario Isugo. But topic number one seems to be Amorim, is he or isn't he when it comes to Gyökeres and his old buddies?
They're going after him. They're going after him, and I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and we appreciate all what Victor did for sport, for the Portuguese league. But I think it's the right call. Yeah, I think it's the right call. Going with a manager that he knows, a manager that he trusts, and I got a couple more things to say. There's another topic in there, but I just want to hold it in there for a little bit. But I think it's going to be fantastic, and Victor Gyökeres is going to prove a lot of people wrong in the UK. A lot of people wrong in the UK. All right, so you thought I'm not worthy of the 100 million or so. All right, watch me.
Okay.
Hold my beer, please.
So speaking of Manchester United, let me go ahead and skip to topic number 2 because I just saw it. Bruno Fernandes said no to a gazillion-dollar offer, and Manchester United could. Oh, they could.
They could win the Premier League.
God. No.
They could win the Premier League.
And then stuff might fly out of my shorts too.
They could win the Premier League. All right, so
fly out of my butt. Yeah.
$200 million offer. I mean, $200 million for 4 years. So he just said no to a $50 million year contract. $50 million a year contract. And the thing is that his contract was up. It's up in June 30th. Okay. And in Manchester United, they told him, all right, it's your call, brother. If you're going to go, we're not going to stop you. All right. So if you want to go, you can go. You can take that offer. And Amorim talked to him. Amorim talked to Bruno, and he told Bruno, stay because great things are going to happen. I got my buddy from Sweden coming in. You sure you want to go? Huh? You sure you want to go? All right, just stay, brother. Stay and trust the process because we're going to turn this thing around and Manchester United will be back to their greatness next season. Listen to this, guys. It's June 5th of 2024. Nino Damos is saying this, that Manchester United will be back to the top of the standings, back to the top, and look, everyone in the United Kingdom from the top.
Wow. Boy, am I going to disagree with Nino Damas on this one. Look,
Amorim is working on this thing. I mean, this guy is so smart and he's so detail oriented, and he's a mastermind, man. He's a mastermind of soccer, and he is. I mean, he's talking to the owners now. He's bringing Victor. He's there's gonna be a couple of pieces coming into United, but as a team, the United is just gonna be United, and that's why they're gonna be back.
I mean, I'm looking.
He's like he's not believing in me.
No, I'm not, because I'm like, with what money, Nino Damas? With what money are they gonna turn this around? Because they're laying people off. They got 200 redundancies. They're claiming that they don't have any money, and so you're saying that they're gonna work their way back up to the top of the standings, and Nino Damas is promising that they're gonna win. And I'm like, with what money and what army?
They will win.
All right. Okay.
Just trust me.
All right.
And I love it when people look at me like, Nino, you're crazy, man. Why would you say something like that? And then in the end, Nino Damos is right.
All right.
Not all the time, but most of the time.
Okay. All right. Let's go to topic number 1, since we're in Europe. Vitinha put a Broadway show with Portugal and Munich and waits for the winner of Spain and France.
Brother, what a performance from Vitinha again. he's an absolute dynamo in Portugal and PSG. He won the Champions League for Luis Enrique, and oh, I'm not gonna say. I mean, Luis Enrique said that he should win the Ballon d'Or. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think it's. I mean, Ballon d'Or is you got to put the incredible numbers, and I don't think he has the numbers, enough numbers to be Ballon d'Or. But in the conversation, top three, top four of this year, yes, I want to say yes. I want to say yes for Vitinha. I'm gonna say yes for Portugal. The best three teams in the world right now: Spain, France. Oh, best three of the four because Argentina is number one.
Yes.
Argentina is still the number one team in the planet, and not a single European team can compete right now with Argentina. They're one step above everyone else. But the other three: Spain, Portugal, and France. That's the top four in the planet right now, and two of those four are colliding today to see who is going to meet Cristiano Ronaldo, Vitinha, Chico Conceição, Nuno Mendes. Oh my God, this Portugal Seleção is absolutely loaded and loaded with young talent. This is a very, very, very young Portugal Seleção that you know what's beautiful that all these kids. I'm gonna go into that kids definition in a second or two or three when we talk about the topic number 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Today, but they're so mature. They're so mature. 21, 22, 23, and they are like 30-year-olds. They have the poise, but they also have the patience and the decision-making process. It's absolutely wired for every single player here. The best case scenario, best case player is João Neves, man. João Neves is 20. 20. He already won a Champions League at 20. And in Benfica, when he was 18, 19 for 2 seasons in a row, he was the best midfielder. That's why they sold him to PSG, right? For I think it's 60 or 65 million, something like that. Because the guy is mature. He understands the game. He understands when he got to let the ball go, when he has to stop, when he got a, setback. He knows the time and the tempo, controls the tempo of the game. And that's why all these young players, these young Portugal Seleção, I mean, I'm going to be biased a little bit, but I got a feeling for Portugal. So I want them to win this Nations League, man. I want them to win. I don't know if they're going to win because Spain or France, they're so freaking tough. But we'll see. It's open. The table is open.
And they have 928-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo scoring goals and helping out with wins. We got qualifying going on for something called the World Cup. I don't know if you've heard of this tournament. The Australia beat Japan already this morning 1-0. Indonesia and China, by the way, are in the 27th minute, and they haven't scored yet. We've got a lot of stuff going on Middle East and North Africa later on today. Then tonight, 7 o'clock, Ecuador and Brazil. Brazil is a plus 121 at Ecuador. Paraguay and Uruguay. Paraguay favored at a plus 158. Uruguay is a plus 234 on the road. 9 o'clock, Chile and Argentina. Argentina a minus 123. Chile at home is a plus 387. You have CONMEBOL, WCQ, Carleto debut, and then all the actors in South America in all caps are ready to roll.
Ready to roll. And you know what? We're going to... It's the rise of Paraguay is going to continue. That's my my first topic on this CONMEBOL, and I know Carleto is making his debut, right? But Paraguay is going to be number 3 if they beat Uruguay, man. Paraguay is number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, after having a disastrous first half of the qualifiers, then Gustavo Alfaro took over, and they're going to beat Uruguay in Paraguay, man. They're going to beat him. And they're going to leapfrog Uruguay for the first time since like I don't know when was the last time that they leapfrog. I think '98 is the last time that that Paraguay leapfrog Uruguay in the Commonwealth qualifiers, which by the way was the first time that we got the everyone against everyone. 97, right? 98. That was the first time that we got this system, because before we got the groups, we got 3 groups of 4. It was different. I'm so amazed with Paraguay, and Carlito in Ecuador, man. Brazil in Ecuador. Ah, eh, Despite the disappointing performances of Ecuadorian clubs in the Copa Libertadores, and well, not so much in Sudamericana because Mushu Bruna is rolling, but I think this Ecuadorian national team with Becasese, they're hungry. They're hungry, and they're second in the top of the standings with a game down. I mean, the 3 points penalty that they took off from there.
Yeah.
So it's arguably the second best team in the qualifiers, and Ancelotti is gonna find this game in Quito. Boy, it's tough. Boy, it's tough. Welcome to Commonwealth qualifiers, Carlito. I don't know if they're gonna win. I don't know if they're gonna win. I'm telling you that right now.
I mean,
I'm gonna favor a little bit Ecuador in this one. Huh? Favor a little bit Ecuador in this one.
Okay, because right now, the way things are laid out, Argentina has won 10 of the first 14. And remember, this is home and away. This is 18 matches. So there are 4 matches to go in qualifiers. Argentina has won 10 of the first 14. They're 8 points clear. Ecuador, with the 3-point penalty, they are in second at 23 points. Then the street fight. Uruguay at +7 in goal difference at 21 points. Brazil at +4. Paraguay at +2, even though they've only scored 11 goals in 14 matches, but they've only given up 9. They're the outlier in all of this, where they are right in the heart of qualifying, but they're not scoring, but they're not giving up goals either. And then Colombia is at 20 points, and they are in 6th. And then you get into the rest of it. Venezuela is at 15. They're in 7, and they're in the qualifier spot. Bolivia is at 14. Peru and Chile are at 10. Peru is 1 goal ahead in goal difference. But, man, this is what a lot of folks may not know is how much of a street fight this is, because 5 teams are separated by 3 points going from 2 to 6 in the automatic qualifier.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And now we have the chance. I mean, I don't know if a chance. I don't know if it's a chance. I don't know what it is. I just want to keep believing. But oh man, it's so tough, because even if we win, we're not gonna be in that number 7 position. It's ridiculous. In the most open and most, how do I put this, easier qualifier in the history of CONMEBOL, because 7 teams are qualified, 7 out of 10, and we're not gonna get in there. My God, 7 out of 10, and we're not getting it. We're not getting in there. And we got lots of issues. We got we got 2 players that got they've been taken off from the list today. So we got a couple of more kids coming in. One of them is 16 years old. Max Loren Castro, 16-year-old. Pay attention to this kid. Hopefully he gets some minutes. I don't know if he's gonna get enough minutes, but at this point, I mean, people still thinking that we have a chance. We don't have a chance. Wow. We don't have a chance. That's a reality. I mean, but again, I want to say this one more time. I don't want this team to qualify. I don't want Peru to qualify. I don't want it to qualify because I want Venezuela to go. I want Venezuela to go for the first time ever. And yeah, go ahead, guys. Get your chance. We'll get ready for 2030 because this team is a mess. We have an interim coach. We don't know the coach is gonna be yet. They don't even looking for one. I mean, they might be looking for one, but we have no names coming in. I mean, there's zero names. Or there's hey, because you sometimes you hear it, right? Hey, I need this guy. They're talking to this guy. No, nothing. You don't hear a thing about it, man. So that is because they're thinking of the next World Cup, not on this year. There's no rush right now. There's absolutely no rush. We're not gonna go. But what if we do? What if we do go?
I mean,
huh? You're supposed to have a coach, right? Line up.
This is what.
But no, Nino, hold on a second. How do you know? I don't know, brother. I don't know. But you gotta be ready. You gotta have a backup plan. That's why you're the federation of this country. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C.
Oh man, and
no, it's only 1 a.m. and we hope for the best.
By the way, Peru is a plus 915 going up against Colombia tomorrow at 4:30. Colombia is a minus 303 on the boards, by the way. Venezuela, favorite. Vamos Venezuela is a minus 263 going up against Bolivia, who's basically a plus 800.
Is that Venezuela
yes.
at home?
Okay. Yeah, so Peru at Colombia, you're a plus 915 in the composite, and Venezuela at home against Bolivia is a minus 263. So that's what you're staring at. Then you've got CONCACAF at starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Suriname, Puerto Rico, Curacao, St. Lucia, TNT, and St. Kitts and Nevis, and Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Guyana. That's all tomorrow. Okay. Also, sir, on the board, I have topic number 4. Libertadores and the power of a 1994 quote that could turn a mission impossible into something. What is this?
We got the draw on Monday, on this past Monday, June 2nd. By the way, my birthday is June 2nd. Okay, June 2nd. So we got a present. We got one of the toughest presents for my birthday. You gotta face the almighty Palmeiras, man. Universidad de Deportes versus Palmeiras. Oh my God, the toughest of the toughest we got, man. But that's okay. It's okay because the phrase is coming from 1994 after Bill Sarsfield won the Libertadores in Sao Paulo versus Rai versus Cafu versus all those guys. All right. And El Turco Assad, who scored the goal winner in that game, no shirt, he was screaming this, right? Now bring me the Milan. I wanna face AC Milan. Bring it in. I was watching live that thing, right? I was like, are you serious, man? I was like, what are you talking about? AC Milan, they will crush you. They will destroy you. You know who won, right? Vélez Sarsfield won. We're going from El Turco Assad. And so this is what I'm saying now. Y ahora que venga el Milan. Now bring me AC Milan. Now bring me Palmeiras because we're here. Okay? We get here. And Palmeiras might have the best record in CONMEBOL Libertadores right now. 6-6, perfect, putting up a show on every game. But their group was one of the easiest groups in the entire Libertadores, and we have one of the toughest, if not the toughest group in all the Libertadores. So it's 1v1. My house, your house, 2 games. That's it. 11 versus 11, brother. Anything could happen. All right. That's the mantra that I'm trying to put on all the Universitario fans because everybody was like, no, Palmeiras outside. Come on. Yeah. Let's go. You and me. You and me. All right. I'm Rocky. You're Drago. That's what it is, brother. I'm training on the mountains. You're training with all your machines or your sensors and everything.
Yeah.
Give me those logs here. I'm gonna walk up the stairs and I'm gonna crush you, man. All right, that's the mentality that I have. Rocky versus Drago, man. My God, I don't know what's gonna happen, brother. But I'm gonna throw this out there. All right. Damos is on fire today.
He is. Yeah.
Home game, first leg
Yeah.
of the series. 1-0 in Lima. We're going to Sao Paulo. 1-1.
Okay. All right. So
That's
that is August 14th. You're the late game. 8:30 against Palmeiras. Right now, a whole 2 months and 9 days before this matchup, the juice boxes have you at a plus 412. It is 2 months and 9 days before this matchup, and the juice boxes are already out. Just so folks know, Fortaleza Vélez Sarsfield, Atlético Nacional Sao Paulo, Peñarol Racing Club, Cerro Porteño Estudiantes, Flamengo Internacional, Botafogo Liga de Quito, Libertad River Plate, and Universidad Deportes and Palmeiras. Those are your matchups in the final 8s when it comes to the Copa Libertadores, August 12, 13, and 14, and we already have juice boxes. All right, last topic. Mastuantono is ready, but in Peru, a 24-year player is still not. What? With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation points.
unreal, right? So Real Madrid is going hard on Mastantuono. They putting the money down. They trying to sign him right before the World Cup of Clubs starts. And they making the moves. They're making the moves. They want this kid, and the kid is. I mean, for me, he's ready. He's ready. I saw him play not only in the Copa Libertadores, I saw him in the tournament. And first, Gallardo wasn't sold, right? He was going, easy on the kid because he's a kid, 17-year-old. Okay, you are a kid, but not at 24. I'm gonna go into that right now. So then he put the kid 30 minutes, 45, and he ended up leading the offense for River Plate at the age of 17. Okay, and one of the 2 biggest clubs in Argentina with the most pressure in the planet. 17 years old, the kid goes in there. You see his face, you see his attitude, you see he has the eye of a tiger, man, and he's going after, and he has no problem going against anyone in the planet. All right, so we got this kid, I say kid, right? We got this player in Peru, Cesaringa, who's playing for Universidad Deportes, by the way, right? He got his first international call-up for the Peruvian national team. And bunch of journalists were saying here in Peru that, oh, no, why are you going to put Inga in starting 11? No. You're not hurt him. What if Colombia crushes us? He's going to get so hurt on his heart, he's not going to be able to recover. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's 23. He's going to turn 24. Okay. He has 100 games. Not 1, not 2, not 13. 100 games in the top flight division. He's the most versatile defender in the entire Liga Uno. And look at these numbers, Johnny. I mean, out of 92 games that he played 34 on left back. He played 24 as center back. He played 20 at the right center back, left back, and right back. He played on every single position in the backside, and he excelled at all those 4 positions. Why? He's getting an international call-up. And you're telling me that the context is not the most perfect situation for him right now. Why are you putting in a CONMEBOL qualifier? Why are you not putting against, I don't know, with all due respect to Belize, right, in a friendly? And so the kid can, I'm playing Belize, I'm gonna be okay. No. If I call you for international for the World Cup qualifier against Colombia, away, if you're gonna play, you play. All right, if we lose, we lose. All right, but don't tell me that he's not ready, because the argument is like in Peru. Oh no, in Peru the kids develop later. They're not mature at 24. At what age are you gonna be mature if you're not mature at 24, man? Come on, man.
Oh,
I'm so mad at these guys.
Hey, no, that's why we always love you having dropping in being fully loaded. You wouldn't be fully loaded if you weren't mad,
But yeah, it's just why, brother? Why we got that mentality? I hate it. I understand that that's probably the the worst situation for Peruvian players is their lack of maturity, right? That they mature later. That's right, but Papi, you gotta get up. You gotta get up to speed because the world is running way faster. If you wanna catch that wave, you better run. You better dive into the ocean right now.
Yes,
now.
absolutely. So what is the week looking like for you at GOLTV? Do you actually just get to take some time off? Do you have time to breathe, sir? What's going on?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, this is slowing down a bit, but Uruguay never stops. They don't stop, man. They don't stop.
The
So
intermedio, man.
The intermedio, brother. We got a massive Boston River game on Monday night. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. They were leading 2-0. They were 2-2. It was a red card penalties, late goal dramas. Oh my God, it was sensational. Of course, my buddies in Kentucky, they were so happy.
Man, and that's the fun part of hanging out with you, as we always do. Love you very much, my friend. We'll be watching on GOLTV and our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, where you get to hang out at Fanatis. You get to see our buddy Nino Torres and find out what's going on at GOLTV, find out about the Intermedio, go to Kentucky, watch Boston River games, and be all of anything and everything. Love you very much as always, and can't thank you enough for dropping by and educating everybody on everything in the world of Nino Damas. As much as you and I are going to completely and totally disagree about Manchester, I'm like, bruh, I don't know where the money's coming from. They're just going to lay off 200 more people, and then serve like hot, cold soup and hot sandwiches or hot bread with butter or whatever for everybody that's working at Manchester United. Love you very much. We'll catch up with you next week, and hopefully it'll be more than 50 Fahrenheit, and you won't have to wear caps like that when you're breaking everything down.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you for having
me.
All
right, that's our buddy Nino Torres. I swear to God, it looks like Nino's about ready to go dip in a pool. He's going to go like cannonball or something into the pool wearing that skull cap. He's going to do like 13 laps at 50 meters. He's just going to go and he's going to dive into the pool and go do the backstroke. He's going to go set a new record. But no, it's always fun to catch up with our buddy Nino and find out what's going on in and around the planet. Because, like I said, literally, I do not, and that's kind of the fun of this whole thing. Where it's just gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to know what he wants to talk about, so that way I can be honestly surprised and we can have fun and just kind of prepare and go back and forth. And I am going to wholeheartedly disagree with him with Manchester United. I mean, they didn't sell Bruno. Bruno decided he wanted to stay. You're going to bring in Mbumo. You're going to try and bring in Gyökeres. With what money? You're turning into Barcelona, man. Like, how are you going to pay for all this? How are you going to pay for all this stuff? I don't know how you're going to pay for all this stuff. That will just lay off more people. Yeah, well, let's do that. Yeah, that's hey, we've got redundancies. All right, you're all out the door. But yeah, I don't know. You want to bring in Gyökeres, you want to bring in Mbumo, and how are you going to pay for it? Yeah, it's like, let's build a new stadium. How are you going to pay for it? Oh, we'll figure it out later. Literally, this is almost turning into Barcelona when it comes to what we're seeing with Manchester United. And that screaming that you heard is our Drew Dickinson. With me bad-mouthing Manchester United to the extent that I am. Drew will not have this slander. And I'm sure he'll let me know about it Friday night at Decatur with Decatur FC and UFA in the WPSL. I'm sure we will be having those discussions over at Decatur on Friday night about the profound disagreements that I have with him and with Nino Damas about the future of Manchester United. I will say this. Here's what I'm going to say about Manchester United. And Nino knows that I love him very much. I think that they're going to be closer to the bottom than they are to the top. I think that they're going to be closer. I think it's going to be a redo of this season. I think that they're going to be closer to the bottom than they are to the top. They will finish in the lower half of the table. Lower half of the table. And I know that I probably just knocked Nino out of his chair. For Spurs, they got to get their you-know-what out of their you-know-where. I don't think Ange Postecoglou stays. I don't, and if Thomas Frank knows what's good for him, Nino's still in the green room. He's flashing the Manchester United gear. I think if Thomas Frank is smart, he does not take the Spurs gig. He stays at Brentford because he has done more at Brentford and has he's been like the like when Indiana Jones went into the room with all the chalices and the old guard. And the old, it's like you pick the chalice that you think is the right chalice to drink from immortality, and the dude chose the one that had all the jewels on it, and that was wrong. And you've chosen poorly. Thomas Frank has chosen wisely. He's done very, very well. So I think that Thomas Frank, if he stays at Brentford, he will be doing a lot better than he would if he goes to Spurs. But I think that Manchester United closer to the bottom than the top. Nino Damas and I are going to disagree on that one. All right, last half hour. And once again, what show on what planet, other than this one, can go from Atlanta to Lima to Seattle? This one. Now it's time to go to Seattle and catch up with our buddy Niko Moreno from Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports. What's going on, brother? It's that time where we catch up and find out what in the wide world of sports is going on and why folks are so damn mad.
What's going on, John? SDH family. Man, another eventful week. I guess that's good for business, man. It's been all over. There's been highs, there have been lows, there's been wins, losses, and now controversy and conflict. But here we are to just break it all down in the one and only SDH, baby.
You know it, and you know that we've got to start with the controversy. And great work by you and everybody there at Pulso Sports for being at the impromptu press conference that happened after the matchup on Sunday, where, and I don't know if the Sounders players are going to be getting a letter from Milton Bradley because they used the Monopoly dude and put him on the front of the T-shirt. I don't know if Milton Bradley is going to get mad about that or not, but the outrage about the Club World Cup cash grab and the press conference after, and we played like to the first 2.5 minutes of that, and now Adrian Hanauer apparently, and your sourcing has it that Adrian Hanauer was less than pleased, and he did not mince words when discussing it with the Seattle players. Please, sir, if you would, advance the story to where Mr. Hanauer was, I'm guessing, using colorful metaphors toward his own players. What was going on there?
All right, well, for the purpose of clarity, let's go ahead and try to unlayer this onion as quickly as we can. So just first of all, the stance of the players and the reason why they wore the shirt with the cash grab phrase on it is because they feel like they've been ignored, that no one has sat at the negotiating table with them after a month of them bringing up concerns about the potential compensation for being part of the Club World Cup. As everyone knows, the clubs are getting, MLS clubs are getting $9.5 million at the very least just to participate in this event. And because of the CBA, the MLS, rightfully so, to be honest, to be fair to everybody involved, is saying, look, the CBA says that you get 50% or $1 million, whatever is biggest, as part of your take for this tournament. And the players are saying, look, there's all these incentives about if the teams win, they get an extra $2 million. If they draw, they get $1 million. If we go past the group stage, we get $7 million. And we're top at $1 million. It doesn't seem fair for us to split $1 million. So that's point number one. Point number two is clearly a team that has reached out to MLS. As far as I know, the Players Union had been in conversations with the league that maybe in no formal way with the players that are not happy with how things are going is another important component. And to clarify as well, that it's not just the Sounders. During that impromptu conference, Stefan Fry and Christian Roldan were very straightforward about conversations with Inter Miami and LAFC So there is a letter that was sent to the league with signatures of all the players that had these concerns, and yet nothing happened. So we're layering everything down right here. When it comes to what happened after the game, that's where things get even more difficult. And I want to preface everything by saying this: I do not want to paint Adrian Hanauer, an owner that is as nice as they come. He has put his heart and soul into this team. He cares more than most. He was at every practice of Starfire. He's at every practice.
Nope, we lost your audio, Niko. Yeah, lost your audio. I don't know. Duck out, duck back in. Okay, so we'll find out what happened there. It's like literally he goes into the middle of something, and of course. See, now this is, yeah, he gets on a roll. He gets on a roll. Go for it. No, you had it and then it lost it again. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know. Try your phone. How about that? Try another device, unless this is your phone. That was weird. It like literally it started and then it stopped. So yeah. See, this is what happens when we start talking about Adrian Hanauer. Literally, this is what happens when we start talking about Adrian Hanauer. I want to say legitimately, you start saying stuff, and then all of a sudden, it's like, it's weird. So I don't know. It's just one of those days. Literally, it's like I can't play any sound out of the board. Everything was fine, and then the wireless that's at the Casa de Niko went boom, and then it just went sideways on us. And so we get into this discussion about Adrian Hanauer, and then he wants to say some things, and then all of a sudden the sound just goes. It's one of those days, It's I don't know. I don't know what happened. I legitimately don't. I don't know what happened.
I think we're good.
Yes.
Yes, there was something going on there. It might have been MLS trying to shut us down out here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you start talking about Hanauer, and then all of a sudden the microphone drops out. I see how this goes. So
yeah, and look, but I wanted to preface it everything because I want to be fair to all involved. So I do not want to paint Adrian Hanauer, the Sounders owner, as this tyrant or this unreasonable person, because he's not. He's as nice as they come. He cares about this team dearly, and I think that's what essentially fueled him to make a very wrong decision. And that is kind of the point of it. Although he's a very nice guy and he definitely cares about the team, it doesn't make what he did after that 3-2 loss to Minnesota right. And through our reporting and our sourcing between Jeremiah, Oshan, and myself, we were able to confirm that after the game was over, Adrian Hanauer walked into the locker room in an explicit way, scolded the players for wearing the shirts and basically saying that they were not helping themselves or their cause by doing this. Different sources feel like what he was trying to imply is that he felt betrayed into a certain way, that the players did not come to him prior to making this gesture, and that all in all, he felt like he's put so much into this team his entire life, right? Everything that he's provided in terms of facility and money and everything to create this organization, and he just felt hurt. But in that sense, he was also very belligerent and aggressive, and the players did not take of it well, as far as we know. And it makes all kinds of sense. No player should feel like they cannot bring this up when they've tried in various ways to get it resolved and then be scolded by it. Now, Christian Roldan yesterday, he said, look, maybe we could have done better to talk to Adrian, right? And he kind of alluded to the fact that just as sometimes it happens with players when you're on the field and you yell at somebody and you get emotional and then he stays on the field, he kind of alluded that this was similar, right? That he feels like that's, how things played out. Now, the team, especially Brian Smetzer, have been very coy about the whole thing and saying, look, what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. There's reporting, all of this thing. Uh, I didn't like the fact that he mentioned something. You guys decipher the truth. Look, if it comes from Sandra Hart, Jeremiah Shan, and Niko Moreno, everyone should know that. I mean, our record speaks for itself, and that's not being, pompous or anything. We take our job very seriously, and if we are to put something in writing and put a story out there, it's because it's extremely well sourced. And that's exactly why we brought it up, because we feel like it is uncharacteristic, but it should not be done because it compounded the problems and it makes things look worse. The optics on the entirety of this thing is very poor. And unfortunately, now Adrian's the one that gets all the scrutiny because of that decision, that poor decision to go into the locker room and said what he said.
Yeah, our friends over at Gimme Sports said league office has had regular discussions with the MLSPA over the last few weeks. League disagrees with the MLSPA's assertion that the CBA, which was signed in 2021, is out of date. One source says the MLSPA have also not made an official proposal to MLS. Sources say discussions are taking place. Sounders players happy to have gotten their message across. Hopefully something gets agreed to. And it goes to the Stephen Fry quote where the fact that the players are capped at $1 million seems ludicrous, honestly, fighting for ourselves. But I think it's very, very important that we also fight for future generations, if you will, because you see MLS is growing. And so what does your gut tell you with only, if the first matchup's coming up in, say, 9 days, what does your gut tell you? Are they going to kind of kick the can down the road here when it comes to, we'll figure it out, we'll figure out the financing later? Or do you think that there's going to be an adjustment before the tournament starts? What does your gut tell you?
My gut tell me there's going to be a resolution and things will get squared away in some sort of way. One way to do it is maybe that you allow players just to take home the incentives by performance that have created. All in all, I've been hearing two different things. There is from well sourcing as well that says that the owners can allocate the money any way that they please, and they could use the 9.5 in way of bonuses and things to provide that extra compensation that they're looking for. But then there's the other side that I've been told that is not true, that the CBA clearly speculates that you cannot do that, and it has to go through Don Garber and it has to be approved by the owners that are involved in this tournament. I have also been told that all of these additional performance incentives, no players in no club are being given any money in the group stages, in the knockout stages. That's when a lot of the money is going to come from. And Real Madrid talked about each player getting $1 million if they win the whole thing. There's all of these components, but as far as we know, and this particular source has talked to Mexican clubs and the Oceania clubs and everyone that's involved, and no one is getting more money in the group stage than MLS clubs, which is a very interesting nugget there. But I think that it will get resolved in some sort of way. There's too much to be lost in terms of entertainment, in terms of what it means for U.S. soccer, for MLS in general. The jury of public opinion needs to be put at ease, regardless of what is right or wrong in terms of the contract or not. And that is something that I feel like MLS Commissioner Don Garber and every owner as part of this MLS league should be concerned about.
2 of the 3 matches that Seattle has in group stage are at home. They're at Lumen. We were going over the Adam Crafton report in hour number 1 about slow ticket sales and venues and concerns and things like that. What is it looking like when it comes to moving all the bacon so far at Lumen and ticket sales for the matchups? How is it looking up there, and what is the overall vibe about the Club World Cup from a fan perspective?
As you could probably speculate by this whole thing, it's gotten worse, right? That the optics with all of this information coming out hasn't been great, and it's kind of put a damper on things. I had heard previous to this, and I did a show in Argentina 2 weeks ago or a week ago where, I have been told that sales have been very slow, and that's why prices have been dropped. There's been packages trying to be put together. I felt like the marketing in terms of this Club World Cup has been um, disappointing. And there could have been so much more been done, and I feel like you could see it through the amount of tickets that are still available. And the Sounders tickets itself have been selling pretty well, but the Red Diamonds against River Plate, and the Inter Milan versus River Plate, like all those additional games, those are not doing as well as they were hoping that it was going to do. I do hear that there's a part of people that have not been able to join and buy those tickets because of the uncertainty of getting into the country and how quickly that might be. And therefore, there's almost this perfect storm where it is making me nervous that when it comes to the day of, the atmosphere will not be a reflection of the passion that there is in the United States and in the Pacific Northwest for tickets. So it's something that, for me right now, it sounds like there's a lot of tickets available, and that there is some concern in that regard.
All right, speaking of the Pacific Northwest, what in the hell happened to Vancouver?
Oh my! Before I talk about the Vancouver game, I want to say one last thing about the whole players dynamic. Is I want to make sure that people understand that if you are of the thought process that these players should just be lucky to be part of this tournament and this showcase, and they're just this, show ponies that they should just perform without having to bark because that's their job. Take a look at yourself, take a look at the mirror, and understand that there's a lot of dynamics as an athlete that need to be taken into consideration, and that the players are asking just for what they believe they should be earned. Whether that happens or not, or whether that's right or wrong in terms of what's going on with the CBA, that's not for me to say. But the fact that they want to be heard and they want to sit at a negotiating table should be good enough. Now, let's move on. Vancouver. Vancouver was just as bad for me economically as this whole situation has been for players, because I was certain that the Vancouver Whitecaps were going to not just put a great performance, but they were going to win this.
Yeah.
And it was complete opposite. I do feel like when I look at the overall take of this game, it almost feels like the team and the group just wasn't there for the big moment. And all of the mistakes that didn't happen throughout the tournament happened in one half. In one half.
Yeah.
Andres Cubas has the worst game that I've seen him as a player, both at the international level and at the club level. Jade Nelson was ineffective at best. Brian White, Ocampo, a guy that had been so good on the ball, was poor both offense and defensively. But to me, it was self-inflicted wounds and nervosism that really put this game away for Whitecaps. And you cannot give away the ball in the areas that you gave the ball to a team like Cruz Azul and not expect to lose the game. So for me, you cannot take a lot of conclusions out of, you get all these people that have very lazy takes in terms of, oh, that's why MLS is still way below the Liga MX. It was a circumstantial game that things got out of. Please save me the BS and just take a look at the game, compartmentalized and of what it was. Mistakes, Cruz Azul jumped on it. Nothing that Cruz Azul did was incredibly interesting. The pressing wasn't crazy. The build up wasn't incredible. They just took advantage. They were opportunistic, and that was it. The game was over before it even started. Halftime, it was over. 4-0. You cannot come back from that. But to me, it does put a big damper on what the Whitecaps had been done and Jasper and Sorsen had been able to do with this group. But Cruz Azul took advantage. That's what big teams do, and they raised the cup.
I do want to get into your thoughts about the 5 finalists that are attached to each category when it comes to the vote getters here for the MLS All-Star Game in July. 7 different categories, and I want to know how, see if you are either agreeing, disagreeing, or in line with folks when it comes to the top vote getters. So we'll start in net. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if you have placed your ballot yet or not. I don't know if you have voted or how many times that you have encouraged folks to vote. Top 5 vote getters in net. Gillespie, St. Clair, Takaoka, Martin Paz, or Carlos Coronel, or did you go off the board?
Carlos Coronel was my guy in terms of saves and what he's done with Red Bulls. He's had a couple of moments he wishes he could take back. But to me, when it comes to a player, a goalkeeper that has come out in big moments for this team, he's done that. He's top 3 when it comes to saves. He is top of the line when it comes to clean sheets this season, and he is a huge part of what Red Bulls have been able to accomplish this season.
All right, left back, Jordi Alba, Kai Wagner, Max Arfston, and apparently Columbus has turned down, I think it's Toulouse, when it comes to wanting to get Arfston out of MLS. Ryan Hollingshead, Daniel Levitz, or someone off the board?
I went off the board there, and his former Atlanta United, Andrew Goodman, that I chose for the Chicago Fire. I think that he's been such a positive influence for that team. That's a team that has improved dearly. He has assists, he has goals. He's a good two-way player, so that's where I laid my ballot.
Okay, center backs, Tristan Blackman, Michael Boxall, Jacob Glesnes, Miles Robinson, Ranko Veselinovic are off the board.
On the board. I had to give it to Blackman for what Vancouver has done defensively, on the ball, on the build-out. He's a guy that is a clear leader in that back line, and the same thing goes for Boxall. When you have a team that put so much pride into just not needing the ball and absorbing pressure. I got to talk to him after the Sounders game, and he's a guy that's just very direct. He wasn't even excited really about like the MLS All-Star game. He's all about the team and getting forward, but that was my other center back.
All right, right backs. And this has turned into a slam dunk across the board. I want to see if this is the same for you. Alex Freeman, Andy Nahar, Mo Farsi, Griffin Dorsey, Alex Roldan.
I got Andy Nahar. I think Andy Nahar with Nashville SC has been unreal. He's had probably ironically enough, one of the worst games that he's had was here in Lumen. But all in all, when you look at what BJ Callahan has been able to do, what Andy Nahar does on both offense and defense has been absolutely extraordinary. So he was my ballot. But who's the guy that's the big candidate?
Alex Freeman coming from Alex Freeman. He's been able to do in Orlando this year, getting the national call-ups for Team USA, coming from lane 8 and getting noticed, and you're like, well, damn, okay, Alex Freeman. So that's been getting a lot of love this year. Attacking mids, Evander, Diego Luna, Cristian Espinosa, Lucho Acosta, Pep Biel, or off the board?
This is probably the toughest one for me because there are so many good players. I moved around between Albert Rusnak and Diego Luna and, Acosta in Timbers. I mean, there's so many players that deserve that, but I ended up in 2 players. Martin Ojeda for Orlando has been unreal, and it's not just the scoring and the assist, but it's his ability on the ball, the way he breaks lines, the amount of attention that he requires from defenses that just make everything Orlando does so much better. And of course, Evander for me has been unreal statistically on the pitch. He's a guy that had a lot of scrutiny moving out of Portland, and he put all of those naysayers down with his play. Evander has been incredible. Every time he touches the ball, it's going to be a magical moment. It could be a goal, it could be an assist, but I think he's been great for Cincinnati.
D-mids, Sebastian Berhalter, Sergi Busquets, Yepe Tverskov, Nagbe, or Artur, or off the board?
Yeah, look, call me a homer, but I definitely went Christian Roldan, and look, Andres Cubas has been fantastic, and so many other deserving players in that position. Cesar Araujo. I mean, there's so many players, but to me, Christian Roldan has been incredible at the position this season. A huge part of why Seattle has been able to get up in attendance the way they have. He's a guy that right now is all about the team. I'm going to do the dirty work. I'm going to cover all the space. His statistics, that's why they're not amazing compared to other D-mids. But to me, he's been unreal. I could also say, Berhalter or Vitek could play him there, but you could not choose them in that position. So, unfortunately, I couldn't get my way either way. So, Christian Roldan for me is a well-deserved D mid that would make any team better, and that's why I went with Christian Roldan.
All right, and then the forwards, obviously, some dude named Messi, Ty Barabo, Brian White, Denny Bouanga, or Anders Dreyer, or off the board.
Yeah, who? Messi. That's interesting. I think I know him. I know. Yeah, so my three up top: Messi, Baribo, and Anders
And Dreyer. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I went. And look, I know that most of the boats are going to go for Chucky Lozano and Danny Buanga and maybe Christian Arango as well. Espinosa's a guy that I really wanted to put in that wide area as well because he's a well-deserved guy, but I couldn't. So Dreyer for me has been so good for San Diego, and whether it's in set pieces, in transition, being a guy that creates so much for this team, that is good vertically, but could also come in those inside channels. Baribo, I mean, you got to put him in. I mean, 13 goals for Philadelphia. A lot of people give him or don't seem to be as excited with him being up there because he's a bit of a poacher and, a fox in the box. And, what about everything else? What about Brian White? All of these players. But to me, you got to give it to the guy. And it's going to be very interesting how a guy like Baribo plays with all of these all-stars around him if he does give the vote as we expect. And Lionel Messi needs no introduction. But obviously, he's a guy that has also proved it on the field and within Inter Miami. He's probably the most and only consistent guy out of Miami right now on that attacking end. So, yeah, that's the way I went.
You ain't kidding, brother. All right, so we do have some matchups this weekend, one in particular that I do want to focus on with you. DC United, a slight dog at home, hosting Chicago on Saturday night. Colorado, a favorite at home, hosting Los Verdes, Austin FC at a plus 110. Sunday, Portland hosting All Caps at a minus 135. LAFC at a minus 217, hosting Sporting Kansas City at a plus 500. But because of all the makeup games that folks have to have, Vancouver hosting Seattle. Vancouver is a plus 212. Draws a plus 233. Seattle on the road is a plus 125. What do you think about that?
I love that. I honestly understand why the odds might be in that route. But for that game, I'm guessing 9 players are going to be gone in international duty. Pedro Vite, a guy that's so important for that team. Andres Cubas. I mean, that core group, Brian White. I mean, I'm taking that all day, every day. Seattle, just lost about 3 guys in Nuhu de Rosario. Obviously, Stuart Hawkins as well, not going to be available. And Seattle has some, question marks there because is Jackson Reagan full for 90 minutes, ready for 90 minutes? Yammer's definitely not back yet. Kim is not going to be back yet. So is it going to be Jay Bell and Jackson Reagan? Are they going to just try to figure things out differently? But for me, Seattle, been from a game where they could have done a lot better, specifically in the first half. Brian Messer talked about it. They needed to be more aggressive. They needed to be better on the ball. But for me in this one, corrections will be made. Jesus Ferreira just became a father. I think he's going to be excited to be back on the field. I think he's a guy that after his first goal finally is going to get on a row. He's going to be more confident. You got Georgie Manungu and Paul Rothrock. I mean, I feel like this team is going to go into BC Place and put all the frustrations that have kind of built up around this week into that game. And hopefully they come up with the 3 points.
Di Rosario, Hawkins, and Baker Whiting out for Seattle. For Vancouver, Atakubi, Ali Ahmed, Berhalter, Bovalina, Kubas, Tate Johnson, Jaden Nelson, Pedro Vite, and Brian White. All right, what's going on with Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart?
Absolutely. So at Pulso Sports, first of all, if you have not seen the players' impromptu conference, I believe it's the only place that has the entirety of the thing. I have not found it anywhere else. Maybe I'm wrong, but go ahead and check it out. It's really important for you to hear from the players themselves. So for me, that's number one. Go ahead and check that out. We also talked to Michael Boxall if you want to hear him kind of not be super excited about All-Star game, but he talks about the team and all of these things. So that's a good one. We're also going to have everything that happened around the week, including Christian Roldan talking to us yesterday about this whole situation. And we'll have voices across all week long at Pulso Sports. On Friday, what we learned this week with Jeremiah Shand is going to be a good one. So make sure you don't miss it. A lot of information going from maybe there might be some resolution by Friday in terms of this whole thing with the players and their compensation for Club World Cup. So go ahead and check that out. And on Monday, as always, kickoff with Loving Scorches and Ari Lallenwall, how we break down all these 6 games, 7. Yeah, 6 games. And what happened with the Sounders. And if there's any news, we always put that out on Mondays.
As always, my friend, great to see you. Great to catch up with you. And we will catch up with you again this time next week. We'll find out what happened, and we'll get ready for Club World Cup. We'll get ready for all the other MLS action, because that's what we do. As always, my friend, great to see you. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
There we go. There goes Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at heart. It's always great to catch up with Niko and find out what's going on, especially with what was going on out west involving the protests and the cash grab T-shirts and all that. It was important to circle back with Niko and find out, okay, where do things stand and what's the layout and what are we looking at going forward? And that's why I wanted to ask about ticket prices and the whole vibe of everything with the Club World Cup and all that kind of stuff. So as always, it's great to catch up with all of our guests here on Thursdays. And maybe tomorrow things will actually, when you hit play, they'll actually work. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, so I'm going to duck out and duck back in tomorrow, and maybe we'll just shoot. We'll just restart everything, and then maybe kicking the jukebox will actually get things working. But thanks to Niko, thanks to Nino, and thanks to all of you folks for coming by, as you always do, as we break everything down here in and around the world of soccer. So tomorrow, once again, it is getting you ready for the weekend, and we'll see if we can get anybody from the league to kind of catch up with us, and we'll also see if we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring to get you ready for the weekend. And we'll also see if we can get sound to play, so we can actually let you know what's going on involving Maddie and the documentary that was pieced together about Oglethorpe University under head coach John Aiken. So very, very cool stuff across the board. And once again, remember, tomorrow, 1 o'clock kick, 12:30 pregame from Athens, Atlanta United 2 hosting NYCFC 2 on the network at soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. Drew Dickinson and I have Atlanta Fire and Decatur FC. That is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and it will be on WPSL. Will be on the WPSL website and also on the National Soccer Network. So for everybody here at SDH, back in a little less than 22, if my math is right, and at the very least, you'll hear me talking if you can't hear or watch anything else, because that's equipment and that's me and technology. So once again, thanks to all of you folks for dropping by, as you always do. Mucho platiel, play it safe, and since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it again tomorrow. Play it safe, everybody.